If I was in the market right now for a Honda Civic and I was waiting for the 2022 model, which of these two models versions would I buy? Would I go for the sportier hatchback up here or the more elegant, cleaner sedan? Honda dropped their new Honda Civic Sedan not that long ago, maybe a month or so, and now they have dropped the Honda Civic Hatchback. In this video, I'm going to talk about the design changes between the hatchback and the sedan, and also some of the spec and tech, and show you the front, the side, and the rear, and compare the two designs, and also let you know which one of these I prefer and which one I would actually buy. So for the changes here in the spec and tech of the Honda Civic, it has a brand new grille, and I think this is a big deal because I've made a short redesign of the Honda Civic Sedan on this channel. I'm gonna link that video down in the description or up here in the corner. And what I said there is that the grille that kind of dips down in the front end of the sedan, it kind of looks a little off, and I want to reduce that. And it looks like the Honda did that themselves with the Honda Civic hatchback here. In addition to the new grille, in the rear there is the obvious design change, obviously, which is the hatchback roofline that slopes pretty aggressively to give it more of a coupe profile than what's traditionally been called hatchbacks, such as the Volkswagen Golf, for example, which is more squared off and traditional 80s, 90s hatchback designs, which I kind of prefer over this coupe roofline, but it's still a good-looking car. The hatchback is nearly 5 inches shorter than the sedan, and the length here has not been changed from the wheelbase. They actually cut off the rear overhang to give it a more nimbler and sportier look. The hatchback and the sedan's wheelbase has been extended by 1.4 inches compared to the previous model, and the rear track is half an inch wider to help with improved stability and also the ride quality and cornering. To further separate it from the sedan, the hatchback has been tuned to feel sportier and more engaging and suitable for the sportier styling. And this is in combination with keeping the same two engines that you have in the sedan, which are the LX and the Sport models, are powered by a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder with 158 horsepower and 138 pound-feet of torque. And then you have the second version, which is the EXL and the Sport Touring models. They house a 1.5-liter turbo with 180 horsepower and 177 pound-feet of torque. And you have the dreaded CVT automatic as standard, but I think it kind of works in a Honda Civic. The Honda Civic is basically the car if you're going to have a CVT transmission. It's for a daily commute. If you have the sedan, for example, and you don't want to bother about any type of engagement with the driving and have it be as automatic as possible, I think that's where CVTs come into have the biggest benefit. But you can also have it with a 6-speed manual with both of these engines, which is pretty cool. On the inside, you have a 7-inch touchscreen as standard, with a larger 9-inch screen as an option on the Sport Touring models. And the Sport Touring also features a fully digital gauge cluster now and a Bose audio system. The wheel sizes, which is important here for a proper stance, as we all know, wheels make or break a car design sometimes, and specifically when you have, I think it matters a little bit more when you have smaller cars that are supposed to be sporty. For example, the Model 3, which I put my wheels on, and it totally transformed the car. So the wheel sizes for the Honda Civic here, they range from 16 inches to 18 inches on the Sport Touring models. The 18-inch wheels comes with 235 rear tires, which is not bad, and I think it should give it a nice planted look even from the factory with the 235s and the 18-inch wheels. Honda estimates that the hatchback will only take up about 25% of the sales of the Honda Civic between it and the sedan, of course, and it's now assembled here in the US at Honda's factory in Greensburg, Indiana. No info on pricing yet, but the current Civic starts at about $22,000, so you can expect a similar base price or maybe a little higher than that, 23, 24 maybe for the 2022 model as well. Now, let's jump in to Photoshop and let's talk about the fun stuff here. Let's talk about the design. And here is the big change in the front that maybe not a lot of people notice, but it actually makes the car look a whole lot better, in my opinion. As we talked about when we talked about the sedan in my other video, is that the front, the grille here on the sedan, as you can see, this sticks down here with the body color, and it kind of looks a little, I don't know, it might look good in real life. It definitely sets the new Civic apart, but I'm not sure it's supposed to stick down this much here. So I think that's a change that I did in the quick redesign video that I made of the Honda Civic. I'm not sure if that's on this channel or the Sketch Monkey channel. Either way, I'm gonna link it down in the description if you want to go and check it out. And I think they just sorted this, Honda sorted this problem or graphic design out themselves with the grille on the hatchback, which you can see looks, in my opinion, a lot better with the blacked out pieces right here, instead of having the body color stretched down all the way to the center of the logo here, as we have right here. I think this approach to the hatchback design, and also this honeycomb pattern here that you have in the grille, which is also unique for the hatchback, I think overall it just looks better. It suits the car better. This is maybe an experiment or something from Honda, but it might look good in real life. I have to wait and see. But it looks like the lower part of the bumper here and the front fascia is pretty much the same. I can't really see any differences in the design in the lower part of the car, and we also have pretty much the same headlight assembly. As you can see, we do have an orange or amber reflector or whatever these are called here, and we have a white one up here, as you can see, in the hatchback. And for the wheels, we have new wheel designs for the hatchback as well. I'm not sure about these things though. I think these must be installed from factory, because these are promo pictures by Honda themselves. So I guess you can get these 90s looking wind. I think these are to remove the wind noise and stuff like that. That's what I think they are for. I'm not 100% sure, but they look kind of dated in my opinion. You don't have it down here on the sedan. This looks pretty clean, but for some reason they decided to add it here. Maybe it's maybe they made a lot of tests at high speeds and they noticed that there's a lot more wind noise when you have the hatchback design, and maybe this is just a solution to that problem, to reduce the wind noise and the drag overall, to just add these. I'm not sure if every hatchback is going to have these, but they sure look unique for this time period. And other than that, the side profile of the both of these cars looks pretty similar if we just look at this part right here and not the roof line. So if we look at this part, the only difference is, of course, we're cutting the rear overhang here to create a shorter rear end and to create more of a hatchback looking design. But what I would love to see, instead of this coupe approach to the design, is I would love to bring back the old type of hatchbacks, like Golf is still doing it with their boxy rear end. And we have, you know, the old Honda Civics, we had the proper hatchbacks, which had more of a boxy roofline. And I'm going to redesign this car on my first channel. If you want to go and check that out, that should be up maybe by tomorrow or something like that. And I just want to see what would happen if we create more of a hatchy rear end of the Honda Civic hatchback instead of having it be a coupe like it is right now. Technically it is a hatchback like this because we have 4 doors and we have an actual hatch that opens up, swings up like this, instead of a sedan trunk which is separated from the rear window, the rear glass, if that makes sense, and that's what defines a hatch. But still, I want to have more of a wagon looking design here. Maybe not too much, but just raise it up a little bit. Other than that, it looks pretty much the same. This is an overexposed picture, so you can't really see the lines that go in here, but it does have the same kind of line right there as well. So let's have a look at the rear view. And this is, of course, where the big changes happen from the hatchback compared to the sedan. If I was in the market right now for a Honda Civic and I was waiting for the 2022 model, which of these two models versions would I buy? Would I go for the sportier hatchback up here, or the more elegant, cleaner sedan? The problem I have with the sedan, which I said in the other video as well, is that I mean this would bother me too much. These taillights, they're just way too big for the rest of the proportions on this car. It kind of looks like it has some sort of a disease where some of the graphic features just grow out of proportion compared to the rest of the car. And I think this Honda Civic Sedan, it has kind of this disease. And I just shrank this down by maybe 15-20% in the video that I made on the Honda Civic Sedan, and it looked so much better, in my opinion, of course. But that would bother me just when I look at this rear end. It's way too big of a taillight to fit this size of body. I think up here this looks a lot better proportionally than the sedan. The graphics suit the rest of the graphics on that goes on everywhere else on the car. It does here as well, but the problem is just that the size here is just way too oversized for anything else on the car, but it's not on the hatchback here. So let's have a look at the hatchback. We have this sloping roofline, which is pretty much what we had on the previous model as well. We didn't really have a proper hatch Civic for a pretty long time, maybe 10 years, I might be wrong, but it's been a while since we had a regular looking proper hatchback like this with the Civic. And I think that's fine. I mean, people love this type of styling, and I get it. They sell well, and you do get more space than you do with the sedan here, but you get less space than if you were to just create a proper hatchback. But the taillights here, I really like the taillights. I think they look cool. They're not over-styled, but they still have some styling in them. If we go into detail here, you can see that these are stylized like this, and it doesn't just connect here and create something boring like that, because it's Honda. They need to add some styling into their graphic designs. If you look at compare this to the previous model, this is way toned down when it comes to lines and creases in the body lines, which I appreciate. I think you can have some cool styling features in the graphical features of the car, but I think it's a good idea to dial down that over styling that we had in the previous generation Civic, specifically the Type R was just over the top. So I'm looking forward to seeing this in Type R, and the one I would buy would be this one right here with a 1.5. I think it was a 1.5 liter inline 4 turbo and a 6-speed manual. I think that would be the proper setup. And also I think these are the 235 wheels, and they look pretty good. I would probably change the wheels here, add something beefier in the rear just to have it be more planted and look a little cooler and more flush to the body, as you know I love. And also some other differences, we have a sportier rear diffuser here. I think this is some sport package up here, sport touring, because we have this wing in the rear as well. It's a pretty cool looking design. I really like the hatchback. It looks solid. I like the transformation from the previous generation to this generation right here, where I said the dialed back, the overstyling in the body lines, and no fake air outlets or grills like this that we have on the previous generation. They took all that away. Stylized, still had some fun with the designs and the graphical features, and it came out a pretty good looking car.